is Marian McCarthy. Some of you might know her. Oh, great. She lives in Cleggan Park. When she was a teenager, she was part of a local newspaper called the Ballyfermot People. She went to France for a while and she can speak French. She's a Gaeilgeoir. She's married to Jerry McCarthy, that she said everybody knows. Notoriously or not, I'm not sure. And also she was part of the community group who organised the film Down the Corner in 1977. And also she's part of the Ballyfermot environmental group, and one of the other participants told me he saw her picking up loads of litter with a litter picker all the time, so just a good egg. So if we could play Marian's first song, it's I'll Tell Me Ma, and Bale's going to take that, and then we're going to welcome Marian to the stage.
She is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is a courting 1, 2, 3. Ray, won't you tell me who is she? Albert Mooney says he loves her. All the boys are fighting for her. Knock at the door and ring at the bell. Oh, me true love, are you well? Out she comes white as snow. Out she comes white as snow. Rings on her fingers, bells on her toe. Old Johnny Morris, he says he'll die if she doesn't get the fellow with the roving eye. Let the wind and the rain and the hail go high, the snow come tumbling down the sky. She's as sweet as apple pie, she'll get her own fella by and by. When she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell her ma till she gets home. Let them all come as they will, for it's Albert Mooney she loves still. Come on everybody, I'll tell me ma when I go home. The boys won't leave the girls alone. They pull me hair and steal my comb, but that's alright till I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is a curtain 1, 2, 3. Ray, won't you tell me who is she?
Chickadee and O'Culture in some Owen Pubble Ballyfermot. Grandma good film done rendition of On Our Shin, which takes me directly back to my childhood. Skipping on Cleggan Park with ropes to that song. We didn't even know where Belfast was. Is a map brilliant? I won't be singing. My story is about the shops in Ballyfermot, which had a great, all my life, all the shops in Ballyfermot. I'm from Cleggan Park, which was Cleggan Park, or which is now Cleggan Park. It used to be Cleggan Park. So we'll start up that end and work our way down to the Church of the Assumption, mostly, because up the top end, we didn't know what was down the bottom end. And I've since discovered that the bottom end of Ballyfermot didn't know what was up the top. I just met a great friend of mine and she got a job in Caritas College, Vincent. She didn't know where it was. Right, so that'll tell it. She lives on Landon Road. Okay. So we'll start off with which was my nearest shop, which was Castle's. It was an old bungalow. The Castle family owned a farm, would you believe? And then they very quickly turned the bungalow into a shop. There was cows in the farm. The cows were in the field right beside our house. And then that field was then sold to the council and all those factories up at the Applegreen Garage. That is Castle's farm. So we move over to Claddagreen, which was really our local shops. Mario's Chipper. Anybody remember Mario? Mario wore a suit with a tie in the chipper every day. And his wife was the most beautiful woman, with her hair coiffed to perfection. His daughter Marissa was in my class in school, and we thought her name was so exotic. You know, Boylan's chemist, still owned by the Boylan family. McMahon's Hardware, do you remember Mr. McMahon? Okay. And then I just moved up to Cherry Orchard, Tommy's shop. Like, when you look at it now, I think it's there nearly 30 years, so that's quite long for a business, really. More, do you think, Janice? Yeah, so really, that's a long time. So then we moved down to Drumfin, Coyle's Fruit and Veg, still owned by the Coyle family. Christine's, who remember? We got our wool, our school uniforms, baby clothes, nappies. You paid by the week, and then you collected them when you were finished paying. Or sometimes she let you have them when you got to week 8, because she knew you'd only 2 weeks to go. Doran's Sweet Shop, Nolan's. Who remembers Mr. Nolan? I think he was about 6 foot, wasn't he? Very tall man. I got my first tape recorder there. Remember taping the top 10 on the radio. And he sold sweets and papers as well. O'Reilly's, the butchers. And we move across to the main road, as we call it, Nalty's Pub. Well, I never darkened Nalty's Pub in my life. But I know the stories, I read them on the I'm from Ballier Facebook page. The Gala. We only went to holy films in the Gala. With Sister Columkill. Song of Bernadette. We all cried. And I think the greatest story ever told is about 3 hours long. And funny, only about a month ago on the I'm from Ballier Facebook page, somebody had put up a quote, and when I mentioned to Jerry I was going to mention the Gala, his memory was being marched up from the Diva Salle to see the boy in the white suit. The story being a poor boy who wasn't going to have a white suit for his communion. If somebody put up a link to it, so I'll have to watch it. So that, just a sheer coincidence, it came up on the page. And do you remember the sweet shop beside it? The Cleves toffee? And she broke it up. Mrs. McCormick, around the corner from us, Clegane Road, worked there her whole working life in the Gala. And then we move on to Borza the Chipper. That's there quite a while. Boland's. With this being the commemoration of 1922, we have a connection with Boland's. Kevin Boland was nephew to the minister in the first government, Harry Boland. And it's still owned by the Boland family. Garrod Boland is now the current owner. I think he's the great-great-grandson of Harry. So that's a connection there. He was one of the first TDs, Harry, in the new government. Then we move over to Ruan's. And I know Pam, I've seen her earlier. Pam O'Reilly worked there in Ruan's. I've seen her photograph there.
No, I didn't.
Oh, did you not, Pam? Where are you? Where did you work? And then where was Ruan's? Okay, oh yeah, Ruan's was first. I should have checked it. Ruan's was first, and then Harley's was up the road. Is Harley's where Jackie's florist is now? Yeah, and Jersey, yeah. And we cannot go by without mentioning Dirty Aggie. What a name for a shop. Dirty Aggie, it's all in the name. Great stories. And when I was telling Sinead about Dirty Aggies, and I was telling her that there's been a whole life story on the I'm from Ballier page, which you can tell I read every night. And Sinead suggested go back and have a look and see some of the comments that people made, and some of them are very funny. One of them was somebody put up, Dirty Aggie was like obviously the name Dirty Aggie. Someone ran into the shop and said to her, "How much are your blue bottles in the window?" Another was classic. Yeah. And then another one, I didn't know this, she sold single cigarettes. And you got a match with it. My memory of it is walking in and the fresh loaves and the steam coming out of them. Gorgeous. And the snow cakes that she sold. And my mother's greatest memory was walking into Aggie's, asking for paraffin oil, and she turned around and said to her, "Have they none in Boland's?" My mother was afraid of no one. She ran out of that shop. Yeah. Is there none in Boland's? So that was great. And another one was, I think Ken put this up on, it was a quote from him. If you asked for bubble balls, which were sweets, or chewing gum, she would roll them along the counter. Or someone else said to me, I think it was Ken, he went in for paraffin oil too. But just before that, she cut cheese. And then she filled up the paraffin oil. But interesting enough, when the first posting came up on the Ballier page, one of my old neighbours, Denise O'Flaherty, happened to live in the place in Carlow where Aggie was from. Her actual name was Louise, so I don't know where we got Aggie. And Denise went off to the local graveyard and found her grave and put a picture up on the Ein from Ballier page. So that was great. So we had Ruan's shop as well, down there as well, didn't we? And we then Downey's Pub. It's still owned by the Colgan family since 1952. Then we had around the corner the Lafania chipper, the Roma chipper, still in the same family. Tim Young's, Maloney's Chemist, County Bar, quite old shops really. The ESB office, if you remember, everything on hire, everything. Nobody could afford to buy things out the street. Winston's, two-storey building, which was quite unusual. Chasers up there now. A lot of local people worked there, so you kind of see them around the shops, you kind of remember, oh, that girl used to work in Winston's, which was great that they could work locally. McLaughlin's, which coincidentally just closed last week, 1962, in Ballyfermot. Telly Rents, 7 Days. Do you remember 7 Days? Down here where Kelly's is now. Clegg's. Do you remember, anybody remember Clegg's? Yeah, I worked there myself. Very nice family to work for. I think it's the credit union now. They had a downstairs which was the shoe repair when you walked in. Upstairs was paint, wallpaper, all of that. Newsbeat. That's where there's a Spar there, that's now. Kevin Doyle's, 1966, Kevin Doyle opened. It's still run by his son, Kevin Elvis. Have you seen him do Elvis? He's brilliant. Did you? Oh yeah, Penny, I forgot you worked there. Kylie's Chemist, still owned by the same family. Marian McCarthy still works in the chemist. We're moving down towards the lower end. I don't know too much about the shops down there, but Jerry gave me a few that he remembered. Crowley's Chemist is still in the same family. Then there was Grace Shops that was out on the main road. They were there for a long time. The Pine Tree Pub, one of the first establishments in Ballyfermot. Also moving up to the ranch, we have what was called, I think it was Fleming's, but there was also another one called Mary's Store. But Fleming's was just her house, and she turned the front room into a little shop. And she just opened the window, and you went to the window and asked her for what you wanted. Very enterprising. Yeah. So then that's basically all the shops that I could remember, and just my memories of them, and a lot of them are gone, and anytime you see anything on the I'm for Ballier Facebook page, if you mention a shop, it just brings back so many memories to people. And then I was just thinking about the people that used to call to your door, which was the Royal Liver man, Vincent, yes. Dublin is the only place outside Liverpool that has a liver bird, and we're hoping that it will be kept as part of the new development. Do you know the Royal Liver Park where home base? Now, they took the very big one down to put an electronic sign on it. If you're driving into home base, on the left of the entrance, have a look the next time, there is a liver bird. And in the back of the security guard's hut is the big liver bird. And if you look very closely, you'll see his beak sticking out over the wall. And we're hoping that Bluebell, when they get new development, will take the two liver birds, because they're the only two outside Liverpool, which will be great. So the Royal Liver came, we didn't know any connection with Liverpool, and you just paid your money, your penny things. What did you get at the end? You were lucky if you got £50. And you paid it for like 50 years, £1 a week. Other men that called to our door people, the milkman, the bread man, the coal man. We had carnies because they were neighbours, very good neighbours who would oblige people with coal when they didn't have the money. You also had the Irish, Jerry said down there and they had the Irish life people. So that was there. We used to have an eggman, but I can't find out anybody else that had an eggman coming to the door. Lovely fresh eggs from somewhere around the country. And then later on we had a black bag man who came in black bags. Yeah, they were great, they were so strong. So Sinead, we're a little long ago, I hope you enjoyed that. Ben's going to sing Oral Shade the Vatavolia, because since my two lads went to the grad school in Inchicore, and Vincent and Veronica's lovely daughter Neve, my goddaughter, and my best friend's children, Mary and David, I started to learn Irish. And now I'm part of the Common Gaelic Cushlifa, and we have Irish classes for adults. And we're trying to get a Gael school for Ballyfermot, so I'm also part of that. So I'm going to meet them all with fairly long.
Bye.